Hi everybody, old Gary out here at the Fishing Shack. Welcome to Gary Hydrick Outdoors and Fishing Chums Fishing Report and Fishing Show. How was Memorial Weekend for you? You survived? All you chummers? A lot of people out on the waters, and we certainly had a good time, except for all this high water. This high water is crazy, especially over at Beaver, Table Rock. I just got a report before we come on the air. Now, we always tape the show on Thursday, ahead of the release day on Friday morning. And the last report, it was like over 15 feet high at Table Rock going into flood pool. That's crazy. That's a lot of water. We'll be talking a little bit about this. And we have some good reports. We have some crappie being caught. Some of the crappie, most of them are done spawning now. They're going out to deeper water. We'll be visiting about this. And we'll be talking about some trout fishing down below the dam at Taneycomo. The last I knew, now that could change any second, but they have not been releasing any water from Table Rock to Taneycomo, and so the fly fishermen have been having a ball down there, and the trout fishing has been real good. So we'll be talking about this later on as well. Got a good report out at Truman. That lake is only up around 2 feet. We'll be giving you not only the temperatures, but the lake levels as well on today's program with all this crazy water. All right, let's go out to Beaver Lake. The beaver's high. They have some water problems, but it's 72 degrees. That's not too bad. There's a few floaters out there. There's some dirty water, there's clear water, there's medium water out there. But I tell you what, the guides out there at Beaver Lake do a great job. Boy, they're out on the water just about every day, keeping on top of this fish, the stripers movement. In fact, here's a photo here. Good going, guys. Woo, you always get into the stripers and the hybrids, and it's mainly been drifting live bait out at Beaver. So if you want to go on a fun fishing trip, go out at Beaver. I'm telling you, you can have a great time. A few years ago, I caught this big gal right there. She was weighing over 40 pounds out at Beaver. You talk about fun. But they're catching a lot of just fun fish out there right now at Beaver. Crappie fishing has been fair. I understand they're going deeper. You may have to go 20, 30, 40 feet of water, mainly on minnows. And we've had some fair bass fishing on swim baits, and they've been picking up some fish on shaky heads and throwing floating worms around some of the shoreline and that new shoreline and the bushes, and floating worms have been paying off fairly good as well. Okay, let's go out to Table Rock. My gosh, that Table Rock is up over 15 feet of water. Wow, that's a lot of water. 71 to 72 water temperature this morning. And look at our buddy Tom Dagling from out at St. Louis, Missouri. He's been coming to Table Rock all spring, and he likes to deep water fish. Here's a couple photos, some smallmouth and some bass as well. He always gets them. Get going, Tom. All right, from St. Louis. Always like to see you down here on the rock. Hey, Michael Ryan was out the other day with his lady, and look at this beautiful smallmouth that he caught. He's a chummer. Good going, Michael. And boy, catching some nice smallmouth. Boy, the smallmouth fishing at Table Rock has been good. The bass fishing's been good. Top water in the morning. You may want to go with some spooks. You may want to even go back into some of the pockets with buzz baits, and out on the main lake points. Always have a topwater bait handy. I'd always recommend either having a spook or a popping bait like a pop-R handy. Boy, there's been some good topwater fishing at Table Rock. And they're catching fish with this high water, going off the gravel points. I tell you, the Ned rig would be a good bet this weekend. Shaky heads would be a good bet. They're throwing some jigs and some of the new brush, occasionally picking up some fish and around some of the docks as well. So Table Rock, high water. But you get out there and work at it, you're going to find a little pattern, catch some fish, I'm sure. Okay, we're talking about Michael Ryan. John Lukanoff, hey, he was out with his daughter Jessica the other day. Look at this. They always catch fish, John does. And she picked up this nice catfish on Table Rock. The catfishing has been pretty good. In fact, my buddy Catfish Rick Else was out the other day, and he and his, what they call the vet party, they always camp up in the James River arm, and they do a lot of catfishing, and they've been using perch on set lines. And look at this fish here. Man, that is a good old catfish from Catfish Ellis. And let's see what else is going on. Let's go out to my buddy, my pilot buddy, Scott Pringle. He's always catching fish. He was down over the past weekend, had some of his his family down with him, and they really got into some nice smallmouth. He's a walleye fisherman, but the walleye really haven't turned on full speed yet at Table Rock, but any day now. But he and his guys caught some really nice bass over the past weekend. Kim Turner King, this photo in from her husband, and he was night fishing at their docks, and look at these beautiful crappie they caught. Good going, guys, all you chummers catching fish. Okay, out at Taneycomo, as I mentioned, as the time we went on the air taping this thing on Thursday, no water has been released from Table Rock Dam. Now that could change in a second, but it's been quiet, not much water, if any's been running. So the fly fishermen has been doing extremely well down below the dam, and boy, they better take that in, because once they start releasing water, it could be a long time before they could get down and do a little fly fishing. And the main lake fishing, here's a couple photos from our good friends at Trout Hollow Resort. But Trout Hollow, great guys out at Trout Hollow, a great resort. If you ever want to come to the Branson area and fish Taneycomo, get a hold of the people at Trout Hollow Resort. Thanks for these photos. Man, they caught some good fish down there over the past weekend at Trout Hollow. In Taneycomo, they've been drifting fish. It seems like some power eggs have been working. I always like white this time of the year. Orange is good, pink's good, power eggs have been good. They're still drifting some live minnows on occasion, and a half a night crawler drifting can pay off as well. And they're picking up a few fish on little Cleo spoons and small jigs. If they're not running any water, put those small jigs, 32nd, 64th ounce. Brown's been good, black's been good, white's been good at Lake Taneycomo. Let's go out to Bull Shoals. Man, that lake is over 35 feet high. My golly, that water temperature is around mid-70s. I've heard of anywhere from 72 to 74 degrees. And they're catching some fish out there. The bass fishing's been good on top water in the morning hours. Try your popping baits like a pop-R. They've been doing some spook fishing out there. They've been doing some frog fishing out there on top water, and it can be good. And out on the main lake, they're coming out of the spawning pockets now, and they're getting out on the main lake points and secondary points. I would go with a Ned rig. I would look at the shaky head. I would look at throwing out some just swim baits would be good, I believe. And at times on the windy points, go to a spinner baits or maybe even a crankbait. They've caught some nice bass out at Bull Shoals. In fact, Terry Reynolds was out the other day, and he picked up this nice crappie. Yeah, he caught this nice crappie. They've been picking up a few crappie around some of the docks and deep water brush piles. And also, we want to say hi to our good friend Michael Williams. He caught this beautiful walleye the other day out at Bull Shoals. Good going, Michael. He catches fish everywhere. He likes Truman. He fishes all over. Okay, Bull Shoals, let's go out to Stockton. The water temperature was 65 to 68 degrees out there. Randy Clayton was out the other day. Look at this nice walleye that he caught. Good going, Randy. Beautiful walleye. And I want to say tip of the hat to Tandem Fly Fishing Guides out there. They do a great job. They were out yesterday and picked up some nice walleye and crappie. They always get their people in to fish. And I want to make this the photo of the week. Tandem Fly Fishing Outfitters. And they had this nice couple out, and they really caught some fish. They work for you. They really get you into some good fish. And I understand that the crappie still can be caught shallow up in the Sac River arm, I understand, but I've heard of some real deeper water crappie being caught. They're done with their spawn. They're starting to go to the deeper water, and I've heard anywhere from even 30 to 35, 40 feet of water you can catch crappie out there right now. But that takes a lot of work. You got to find them. Once you do get into that right tree or bush, and you can catch some good ones out at Stockton. Dalton Clark. Hey, Dalton, good to see you, old chummer buddy. You were out at Pomme de Terre the other day, picked up some nice crappie. That lake is high. The lake is something like 9 feet high, I believe, somewhere in that range. By the way, no, Stockton was 9 feet high. I wanted to get back there. Stockton's 9 feet high. Pomme's around 4 or 5 feet high. But Dalton was out the other day and picked up some nice crappie. They're not so much shallow out there. They're off the big drop-offs in the brush and trees, and you have to work for them, but you can catch some nice crappie like Dalton did. And I tell you what, Christopher Gills was out the other day as well. He picked up some crappie at Pomme de Terre. Good going out there. Bass fishing's been fair. Floating plastic worms have been good, and they've been picking up some fish on swim baits and a little bit of a topwater bait out there right now, bite going on out at Pomme. Let's go out to Truman Lake. The water temperature was 68 degrees, and that lake, I understand, is only a couple feet high. That's 2-3 feet high. That's not too bad. They're still catching crappie back into the creek arms, and around 10 or 12 feet of water. Now, they're kind of relating more to structure now. The trees, the standing trees are getting in there and flipping and fishing the trees and the brush piles. And minnows have been good, jigging minnows have been good, and some nice quality crappie have been caught out there. In fact, Jim Harris was out the other day. He's a chummer, and he was with that wonderful guide, Mark Huey, and look at the nice crappie that they caught. Boy, that Mark always catches a fish. A great guide out at Truman. So Jim Harris, congratulations. That was a bunch of crappie, that's for sure. Mr. Stark was out the other day with his family. Look at these cats that they caught. Man, he's always catching them. And look at this beautiful crappie from Eric Massey. Look at this beautiful fish. Man, that should have been photo of the week. A great photo, and his son, he always comes through. Look at these beautiful cats that they caught. So the crappie are back in the creeks and off some of the flats and the standing timber and the brush piles. The catfishing has been good on the flats in about 10 to 15 feet of water, cut shad. In fact, my buddy Jordan Lear, look at this boat full of fish that he caught the other day. Jordan's a great guide out there for crappie and catfish. If you ever need a good catfish guide or crappie guide, go to Jordan Lear. He catches them, and he just every week he has some great photos of cats out there. Tom Clark was out the other day, our buddy, our chummer, and he's been getting into the crappie this week out at Truman. Look at this. Boy, I like that red shirt, Tom. You're looking good. You always catch crappie. Good going. That's out at Truman. Okay, Lake the Ozarks, the crappie fishing's been good. That's, of course, they're done pretty well with their spawn, and they're catching a lot of fish to structure right now. We've had good reports around some of the docks, especially with the docks that have some wind blowing into them, and they've really catching some good fish out there. In fact, Ken Miller, look at this, Ken Miller. Boy, that's a nice crappie. And so the docks can be good, jigs or minnows, jig and minnows combinations. Some of the brush piles around 15 to 20 feet of water has been good, especially on the points and secondary points on those, if you find those brush piles. And back in some of the deep coves too. They're still there, but they're not shallow. They broke back to the structure. Find any kind of trees or bushes or brush, you can catch fish out at Lake the Ozarks. It's been pretty good fishing out there, that's for sure. And let's see, the water temperature at Lake the Ozarks was 69 degrees. And let's see, let's go to Norfolk Lake. Our buddy Michael Williams was at Norfolk the other day. My gosh, that guy gets all over. He was at Truman, he was at Stockton, he was at Bull Shoals, he went over to Norfolk. And look at these hybrids and stripers that he got into. The hybrid fishing has been good. They've been schooling out there, so keep a topwater bait ready for them. And I've had some reports of stripers cruising the flats, and they've been using live baits or spoons. The bass fishing still pretty good out there. Some topwater fishing is fairly good at Norfolk for bass. And they've been picking up some fish just on Texas rigged plastic worms out there as well. Still some crappie being caught out at Norfolk, so it looks pretty good for the upcoming weekend. But that lake is pretty high, well over 20 feet high. They've got a lot of water being released at Norfolk as well. So that's a pretty good reports. Hey, you know, the lakes are all high. I have some photos I want to show you before we get into our fishing photo. Tom Mealing was out at Kimberlin Bridge the other day. He took this shot. Hey, boy, that's getting up to the bridge, that's for sure. And Calais K. Spar was out the other day at the 86 bridge. Look at this. Those guys were about ready to jump up on the bridge, I think. They're great photo guys. And old buddy Catfish Rick was with the vets out on the James River. And he's just, I think he's going to have to get some waders. Look at this photo. He has water right up to his camper. Now, I think Catfish, it's about time you may want to move to higher ground. Good photo, good photo. And this last photo comes from the Kings River. Faith sent this in, and it was sent to me. And look at all the debris. So no matter where you go for the upcoming weekend, a lot of this is floated off, but there's still some debris in the water in selected areas. Always keep an eye out, because it's not worth poking a hole in the boat or messing up the lower units. Thanks for all those photos, gang. Speaking of photos, Kathy and I have got some great photos coming up on our fishing photo roll. Want to thank you very much for being with us today, and for all you folks that's watching over on YouTube. I know a lot of you guys go to Facebook. You don't watch us on YouTube anymore, but we want to thank our viewers on YouTube. If you have any photos you'd like to send, go to our email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. That will get to us. And for you YouTubers, be sure to share, like, and share. And we really appreciate that. And so, and subscribe. Yeah, Kathy put it up there. Subscribe. And just keep this ball rolling. Boy, we had, by the way, between YouTube and Facebook, over 17,000 views this past week. 17,000 views in all of our groups. Wow, just amazing. And speaking of Facebook, if you'd like to get involved in our group, well, go to Facebook, Fishing Chums, our Fishing Chums group. We have a lot of fun, because you can get out there and post your photos. You can kind of chit-chat back and forth about some of the fishing activity taking place. And also, it's just a good place to send your photos, but we just have a lot of fun on our group. Be sure to join our group. And on Facebook, be sure to like and share, and just tell your friends about us. We're just having a great time here on Fishing Chums. Well, that's about it for the day. A lot of water. Watch going out this weekend. Watch for debris. Be courteous to each other. And we really appreciate you being with us here on Fishing Chums. And I tell you what, I'm going to go get a haircut first time in 4 months. Happy outdoors, everyone. Love you all. God bless you. Kathy, roll those photos.